Hi, it's Mike here at Pro Steel Products. I just wanted to give a foreword before this video. The rear mount for the subwoofers, this is the installation video for that. Basically it's the same as the forward mount, only the 4 bolts that you use to hold the plate into the bracket is a little different, but you're going to get the same instruction sheet for the forward as the rearward. So if you need some extra tips, watch this video. We're going to install the one with the subwoofers for the rear mount, and we'll see you on the next one. Hey, it's Mike here at Pro Steel Products. Today we're going to be installing the rearward mount packout plate, the double, because we have a subwoofer in the back. A lot of guys have been asking about it. It's finally here. Here's the installation video. So what you're going to need, 13 millimeter to get these bolts, well 12 millimeter to get these bolts out with the D-rings back here by the subwoofers, then a 10 millimeter to take these 2 out in the middle of the bed. So let me get those out and I'll be right back. Okay, now that we got all the bolts out, I want to show you that these D-rings, you won't be using the stock bolts that we took out. I always put them in a bin for future reference in case I need to swap it out again. I have the original bolts. When you take these out, this little black washer will be underneath this. You won't need this because the mounting plate is going to act like a washer, so you won't need this washer or this bolt on both sides. So these 2 washers, these 2 bolts, you can set them aside, keep them in a bin. You're not going to be using those. One thing I want to show you is there's a silver this silver spacer on the back. These must stay in there so your plastic doesn't get crushed when you tighten it down, because it'll crush on this and not your plastic. So make sure these silver washers stay in place. And when you take out the 10 millimeters in here, you're going to have this little thing right here. Make sure the wide end is facing up. That will also protect your plastic. So make sure it goes in just like that with the wide face up. And once that's in, then you're ready. You can't mix these brackets up, so it won't fit on that side. It only fits on one side. You're going to get 2 brackets. And the hardware kit, you get all the bolts you need and the spacers that you need to install it. So let me get set up with these bolts and I'll show you what we got. Okay, I got the bolt package open and I wanted to show you the difference between these spacers. You have a 1/2 inch spacer and a 5/8 spacer. The 1/2 inch spacer will have a bigger hole. That's going to go up in the front of your bed. And all you do is set it down on top of that other spacer. And you're going to be lining that up with the bigger bolt that you have here, along with the D-ring. You're going to reinstall these. And this spacer is a 5/8 tall with a smaller hole. These come in the back where you took that 10 millimeter bolt out, and you're just going to set it down on top of those spacers there. And once you get everything installed on the spacers, you just gently set that and line it up so you can get the bolts started. So you're going to drop it down and reinstall this. Pay attention to how that fits. This is the flat part, so it goes down. Don't put it upside down or else it won't sit right. So make sure the flat end goes down, the D-ring's up, and just put your bolts back in. Start everything with about 4 or 5 threads, and then I'll be right back. Okay, now that you got all the bolts started, and you can see how loose these are. They're in there pretty good, but they're still probably about 4 or 5 threads in to make sure you don't pull them out or anything. But then you're going to put the top plate on. It has a brace in the middle to hold it, and you're going to use these 5/16 flanged head bolts to get them started. So once you get them started, then I'll show you what to do. Okay, now that you got them all started and everything is still loose, you can go ahead and tighten this is a 4 millimeter hex head with the bolts that we put to replace the 10 millimeter. And you can go ahead and just give them a little bit, because they're 6 millimeter bolts, so you don't want to over crank these. Once you get them down there to where they're tight, then you can switch out and get your 13 millimeter and tighten the front ones with the D-rings. Hold the D-rings so they don't turn on you. Okay, once you get those all down, the brackets are all tight, but the plate, and then you just have to tighten the 4 bolts on the plate. And now the installation is complete. Now you can put you can fit a double box in here, 2 coolers, whatever you want if you got a double box. It won't interfere with this. It's back far enough. Let me go get some boxes and I'll show you how it works. Okay, as you can see, I put 2 coolers on this. Real easy to get in and out. Have plenty of room with the subwoofers back there, and they won't interfere. And if you have a tire rack, there's plenty of room to where it won't interfere with these. You will have to lift the tire rack up to get in the coolers though. But if you wanted to, if you didn't have a tire rack, you can actually put a big box up on top. They'll lock in, or you can put the big box on the bottom, put the coolers on the top, as long as you didn't have a tire rack.